3776.
We have the safest food supply in the world. Strict laws and regulations restrict the usage of hormones, antibiotics, and pesticides within our food supply. Production agriculture practices and technologies such as the use of GMOs, which is not any more or less risky than conventional crop production, has allowed American farmers to produce more food on less acres in environmentally sound ways. Find out more online at pathtotheplate.tamu.edu. We are Texas A&M AgriLife Extension, helping Texans make lives better.
Listen in Mondays at noon to hear Conroe news from local nonprofits, businesses, upcoming events, Conroe Park events, news stories, and information that matters to you with your host, Margie Taylor of Taylorized PR. For more information about being a guest, visit irlonestar.com/Conroe Culture.
Hey, this is Lo with Soul Harbor, and you are listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZWLP Conroe and 106.1 KZCCLP Conroe, and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's 2:02 in downtown Conroe, and here you are on the Cindy Cochran Show. Live. This is live. Yeah, what's today? Today is what's the date? I don't know what the date is. It's July.
What day is it?
Is it 16th or 17th?
It's the 17th.
17th. Okay.
What day is it, though?
Today is Wednesday.
Wednesday. I think what do you think is more important to know? Like what the day of the week is or the actual date?
The day of the week.
Yeah, I think that's
more
important.
So, yeah. It's just, we usually are here on Tuesday, and Richard was way too busy to come be here on Tuesday. It wasn't his fault. I'm supposed to let him know on Sunday. We
got things going on.
Dealio,
I
know.
We added 3 new shows, and I got things to do. So if there's a window of not a show, I'm going to take advantage of it and use that time wisely.
He says, Cindy, you aren't the only show we have on, and I realize that. I know I'm not that important, but it's just been really busy. I just flew in from Orlando.
I can't believe they let you on a plane.
You can't believe I was
How
on a
was
plane?
the plane experience, like to get on a plane? I had to drive. I picked up my cousin from Bush, and I felt like either I'm getting so old that I get confused easily, or I'm so dumb I get confused easily, because picking him up, the way, I don't know if it's just, because I even asked him, I go, I'm not going to lie, man, picking you up was really, like, hectic. Like, I got anxiety over it because
you can't sit there and wait. They're going to make you move.
Not even that. Like the lane changes you have to make.
Oh yeah. Oh right.
It says arrival, departure, arrival, departure, arrival, departure. I'm like, what lane is it? Because it like literally had to switch lanes 3 times in bumper to bumper traffic.
Yes.
So
bumper to bumper.
So you know how hard it is to like, edge in, and then you get to that lane and you go about a quarter of a mile, and it's like, oh, this is for departures only. And I'm like, why would it say arrivals back there? And so when I finally picked him up,
I know.
My favorite thing is I finally get to him, and he's ready to go. He's a professional. He gets in my car. Everyone in front of me was just waiting. And I was like, aren't they supposed to, isn't there like a rule that you can't wait? Like you literally,
right.
You can't even put your car in park. And there was like 3 people in front of us not following that rule, and I almost rolled down the window. I'm like, hey, I want to get out of here. I've already picked up my guy. Like, that's not my fault that,
It's supposed to leave that far right lane open so
no, all of
them
are supposed to be rolling and gunning and rolling. So it's like,
no, you're right. But sometimes when people are putting luggage in and all that stuff, you can get around them.
No,
you should have
there's no way around them.
I know, but it used to be.
No.
It used to be
No,
back
that
in
place
the day.
was chaos. And I was sitting there going, I told him, and he's like, no, Bush has been under construction for like 3 years, and that's just how they're doing it. And I go, well, next time you're Ubering from the airport to the McDonald's down the street, and I'll pick you up at the McDonald's.
Now, what they say is to go to the departure lane to pick up arrivals, and they can get right through. It's a lot faster to do that. That's like supposed to be the secret of the airport. That don't tell anybody. But it was, it was fine going through. I mean, it was. Christy did all the stuff on her phone, had everybody's, all the passenger. What is the thing? Boarding pass. Boarding pass, and she had all that all done. So
isn't that just the ticket?
Yeah.
And it's just called a boarding pass.
Well, it's a boarding pass that you have to get under this. You go through and you hold your phone over.
I know that.
Okay. So anyway, she had that all done, but it was the going through security. We all know it wasn't supposed to be over 3 inches of any kind of liquid.
Yeah.
3 ounces of any kind of liquid. And so I told everybody, I said, just be prepared. They may make you take your shoes off. I don't know if they're still doing that or not. So we get up there, and everybody in front of me is taking their shoes off. And this lady said, how old are you? And I said, 75. And she goes, you don't have to take your shoes off. I said, oh, cool. There's perks. And so I went to this next counter. He said, why are your shoes still on? And I said, because I'm 75 and I didn't have to take them off. He said, you're not 75. No, you ain't 75. I know you're not 75. I said, yeah, I am 75. And he says, well, you look like you're about 40. Well, thank you very much. It was so sweet.
Oh, great.
And so I had a great time at the airport. No, it was, we got through quickly. But I'm telling you, Orlando's airport is gorgeous. I mean, there's so much stuff you can do and buy and spend, and it's just ridiculous. But then we got to Houston, and Houston he's right. Bush Intercontinental has really changed, and it's really upgraded, and it looks spiffy, and it looks like it's really, trending. They're all starting to kind of look alike, though. But the stuff you have to go through to get on a plane is amazing, and you have to be there so early. We had to leave at 7 a.m. to go there. But here's my story. I've been in Orlando for about a week, and we leave on the 7th, and we leave, and it's 2 hours after we leave that storm starts coming through, and it just is horrible. We don't know anything about it until we land, and we start looking at the news and going like, good grief, what's going on? And so we were worried about, family and all of you. And Richard, I was worried about you. And so we go and try and have the best time we can do while we're worried about everybody here. And so my son says, just stay there, because you don't have any electricity. It's no gas. There's nothing. It's terrible. Everybody's closing down. There's a big tree across Rayford, and you can't even get in. So I went, no, we've got to come home. We have to. And 2 hours before we landed, all the electricity came on in our little neighborhood, and everything was fine. We got there, walked in, the house was cool. Everything was perfect. So I'm telling my neighbors about this, and they say, so did y'all lose anything? What happened? Are y'all okay? I said, yeah. And I told them my story, and they went, shut up. And nobody wanted to listen to me. They thought, I don't want to hear somebody had a happy time and we were so miserable. That's what they all felt like they were just, it was terrible. It was horrible. And especially because we're closer now, I guess, to the Gulf or something, and in the Woodlands, after the Woodlands. And so people are going like, we just got the brunt of it. It was horrible. But Conroe, it came back around and hit Conroe twice, right?
I mean, I guess it hit it once.
Well, it came back. It made some kind of turn, or maybe it was the dirty side came up. And anyway,
I didn't pay attention to it.
You didn't?
No.
Did your electricity go out?
Yeah.
It did? How long?
Well, I think what was funny how it went out was we were over in Montgomery, so we didn't get hit that bad, meaning like the wind and everything. And then like probably around them, like the eye, about an hour into the eye, I was like, oh, that's not bad, because usually the tail end doesn't really affect anything. And then like right when I thought that, the power went out. And like in the middle of the eye, I was like, oh.
In the middle of the eye?
Yeah. So I was like, oh, great. Like I thought we were going to make it through. Mm-hmm. Nope. And then, but, you know, I had my buddy lose 2 giant trees. And that's one thing I'm kind of amazed that are curious about this particular hurricane, because that was the majority of the damage were trees falling over, hitting power lines. And
that's right.
That's why everything got crapped out. But see, these trees are so big, and I went over to his house to help him. And I was thinking to myself while we're cutting chainsawing, I'm talking trees about, you know, they're 60 plus years old.
Right.
Huge. And I'm thinking how much it would cost. Because I asked him, I was like, how much would this cost if we weren't doing this? Because he had one giant tree in his backyard, another giant tree knocked over the electricity pole, and then that hit this tree. So he had 2 giant trees. One was halfway in his property, halfway out. And I was sitting there going, like, how much does this cost to remove a tree this big? And it's got to be a couple $1,000s. Because, like, he has the equipment. He had a backhoe. He had all the stuff. So, like, we were capable of picking up I'm talking giant. I'll show you some pictures after this. And he's like, yeah, it probably costs up to, like, $2,000 to $5,000. And I go, who has $2,000 to $5,000? You know, just a blow on a tree.
On a tree.
Because I was like, if this was my place, I just let it sit. You know,
that's what Sam was doing. He was just letting that tree sit.
Yeah.
And we're just not going to do anything about it. All the bugs are all over it, and it's just let it go. And
but I can't imagine these families out there, and it's just like, yeah, we got this giant tree through our house.
Let's see, do we go get bread and milk, or do we get this tree out of it? Yeah.
Or do we just every day kind of hit it a little bit?
Yeah, just take it out.
Because at one point, we were sawing, and I was doing fine, moving stuff. And then it got to that point where the logs were, you know, 500 pounds, 300 pounds.
Oh, Baba, yeah.
And I was like, do you just want me to cut these in pieces? Or like, I can't lift this, and I can't dolly it, and I can't
dolly.
I can't do anything with this.
To think of that.
So we got the backhoe, and it was just claw machine, and put them in a group, and it was
it fun?
Oh yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. But
did you get a lot of anger out and a lot of frustration out?
No.
Okay.
I just was amazed that people have to put up with this, because my buddy's pretty resourceful, but most people are like you, like, I don't know what this is.
Right. Most people.
What do I do? I don't own a chainsaw.
No. You call.
So this guy, my buddy, had 3 chainsaws, and I'm like, why do you need 3 chainsaws?
And all of our chainsaws are gone. All of our, people came and got them. You going to use these anymore? No, they take them. So, but as soon as they do, then you're going to have something that you're going to need that chainsaw for. And that's what Sam saved for everything. He said, you just ask me anything. I'll go find it right in the garage. It's there somewhere. But, he was right. We always went to him, and he had something that he could use to fix it. But you would not believe my house right now, my old house not old, but my house in Willis. They have, I wish you could have come to that celebration.
They tear it down?
You go, no, they didn't tear it down. They've gone in and cleaned everything out.
Oh, okay.
It's all cleaned out, and they painted it. They're putting all new stuff, new things in it. And I'm thinking, okay, this is like, it's draining and it's flushing a lot of money away, but it'll be worth it because of the return you'll get on it. And then I'm thinking, I'm just about to the finish line of having to pay for anything. And my son-in-law calls and says, okay, got a little bad news. The furnace to the AC is out. It's gone. In fact, what happened was that Sam didn't know. I don't think he knew that he didn't have the right furnace in there. It wasn't really compatible with the other thing. So we're gonna have to get a new one. And I went, okay. And I'm just so afraid of what this price is going to be, because I have no idea what a furnace. I'm thinking of like this huge, furnace with fire and everything, and it's gone. And now we have to replace it. And so he he says, well, I don't know, maybe a couple thousand. I'm not for sure, but Paul, my realtor, didn't want to call and tell me. He said, I'll get Paul to call you and give you the exact amount. So he calls me. It was $2,500. So it's so great. It's like when you go in and tell your husband that you bought this dress, and it was like $55, and he goes, $55? What do you mean? Well, it used to be $150, but I got it for $55, and then he's happy with it. So if you just lower the price, then in your mind, okay, I made a good deal, and it's great. But the things you have to do, and I'm thinking, I watch HGTV all the time, so I'm thinking, now I've got to get stuff in stage everything. And the realtor's going, no, we're not going to stage. We're not going to do staging. You know how much staging costs? It's just ridiculous. So if they don't have the imagination, if they can't see what could be done, but it looks so good. New carpet, new tile, new everything. And so this going to be listed on the end of this week on MLS. And so they'll start bringing people through. We'll see what. I'm so scared if they don't like it, that anybody that rejects your house, you have such a personal, you have been investing in this house for a long time, your emotions and your memories and all that stuff. And if they go like, oh, I don't like it. I don't like the color. I don't like because I watch them do those things. They put hidden cameras and hidden, all over the place.
Yeah.
And then they let people come through, and then the owners are sitting back in this little room going, they don't like, and they can just tear it apart. But everybody has a different. I guess I just kept saying, do everything in a neutral color so they can do what they want to do with it, and it goes with everything. And so they've pretty much stuck with that. And except they painted the ceiling and everything white, and I was going like, why did y'all do that? And when I walked in, I couldn't believe how much taller it looked, because they were right and I was wrong. And I don't say that very much.
All right,
Richard. Well, anyway, so I've vetted enough on that. Okay, so has anything else happened this week? Oh yes, there was this one thing about a rally, and
yeah, I figured you didn't have I'm surprised you didn't have a heart attack.
You're surprised he didn't have a heart attack?
You didn't.
Or me?
Yeah.
Oh, me? No. Well, Samantha's in the room with the TV. I'm not. I'm in the kitchen. And all of a sudden she goes, Mom, did you see that Trump got hit? He got hit? What do you mean? Yeah, and there's blood and everything. And I said, what? So I'm trying to get back to watch what happened. And he was still underneath the podium. And so he comes up and he raised his fist. I said, oh, he's okay. And they said they think that the thing that you read the speech off of, teleprompter. I know that teleprompter. Something hit it, and it went back and hit him in his ear. They thought it was the glass from the teleprompter got hit, but no one thought it was a bullet. And at that time, and they said, no, that somebody else is dead now, and then 2 other people are critically injured, and that shot of him there when he's raising up his hand to grab his ear, and the vapor trail of the bullet, that is the most amazing shot I've ever seen. It was incredible. So,
yeah,
but luckily he was.
There it is.
He was okay, and so, what do you think?
I always wonder the conversations politicians have with their significant other, and not just politicians, but people who are in the media all the time, or their public eye is always on them. And his wife throughout this entire political, even she's been dealing with him during The Apprentice and all this kind of stuff. At one point, she's just like, I'm just gonna go on vacation and call me when you're done doing whatever. Because, especially with that dude, because he's always talking smack, all that kind of stuff. It's just like, now you have to deal with the emotional roller coaster of the thought, someone, like, he almost died.
Yeah.
And then you got to deal with that. So that's what I always thought.
And they were all watching it.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, that woman's gone through a lot of crap. And it's just kind of like, at one point, she's like, I just kind of want to get away from this.
Yeah.
And what do I need to do to get away from this?
I can't divorce him now because he just nearly died. I'm going to have to wait this out.
Yeah. But I was with my buddies, and when my brother goes, hey, Trump was shot. And I was like, just sitting there. I'm like, okay. Like, I was like, is there going to be traffic? Is that what that means? Like, was it here?
That's how you reacted?
Yeah.
Like,
I was like,
okay.
nothing I can do about it. Like,
is he breathing in and out regularly, or what are we doing here? Well,
but then again, this is a great example of social media or people with cameras on their phones. Just like, because back in the day, you could so easily lie to people all the time about crazy events like this, because it's just like, you read it in the newspaper 2 days later. But now people have like phones, and there's like footage of people, and it's like they're watching this guy, and you're like, man, that guy's up there for a long time before he starts, like, how many times did he shoot? At least a handful of times, right? I don't know.
8. I think it was 8.
I don't know. No one. I don't think anyone really knows, but I know it's more than once.
Yeah, and the went pop, 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 pop. You could hear that, the popping of that, and then whenever the Secret Service finally understood,
well, they neutralized him.
They blew his head.
Isn't that great? I was telling Andrew that on Audience of One this morning. I was like, I love the term neutralized.
Yeah.
Because it's probably the safest word you could use to like describe, he was like more than just, undead.
But they said, we put him down. That's how it came down from this. Is like, we put him down. And then the other people would say, okay, he's been neutralized. And what's funny,
that's the footage I want to see.
What?
The guy taking him out.
Well, they have to have footage of that, because the people that were warning the cops and everything, and the cops weren't like getting it, and nobody was getting it, and then all of a sudden, that first or 2 shots going, then they had to have their camera on him when he got shot, and I guess they're not showing it or whatever.
Yeah, to me it's pretty wild.
But here's my question.
Okay, here we go.
Secret Service. Okay, everybody in the Secret Service that was, programmed or not programmed, that they were going to work that day, and you're working with the former president, and everybody knew him all those 4 years and all, and they knew how tall he was, right? Everybody knew how tall this guy was, and he's a big guy. And so why in heaven's name would you send up a 5-foot girl up there to be one of the bodies that's going to try to cover him and take a bullet? Now, it's extremely, extremely heroic of that woman to do that. It's so brave of her to do that. But the person who was manning and putting the Secret Service team together that was going to be there in case something like this happened to cover him, I couldn't believe that. And then I hear the lady who's in charge of the Secret Service now, that she was determined to put 35% more females on the Secret Service than were there when she came. And so, that's fine. And there's a lot of women that are very brave, will do things, will go into fires, go into all that stuff. That's great. But when the duty that they have is to take the bullet for the president, if that's who they're protecting.
Are you really, how does this relate to what happened?
What?
Well, how does this relate to what happened?
Did you see them taking him off the stage? Did you see that little girl that was there, and how small she was and how open he was to everything?
Well, he's also a giant of a man.
Okay, but the other guys that were up there were at least, his height. But this little girl who was...
They've already neutralized the guy.
Okay, but what I'm saying
See,
is,
that's the radio chatter I want to hear, because that happened where like somebody saw him on the roof.
yeah,
And so the first officer or whatever goes, "Hey, do we have anybody on roof 2404?" And someone's like, "Let me check." Someone's like, "Let me
Yeah.
check with the higher up."
right.
And they're like, "Hey, higher up, you know anybody on the roof 244?" And the other guy's like, "Let me check.
We'll get back to
I
you.
gotta get on the other high up."
Yeah,
And then it's like, "Let me check with the Secret Service. Let's check with local police. Let's check with the county police. Let's check with the state police." And then finally, like, "Oh, that's not one of ours."
and this one guy was saying, I think they'd be interested, and I tried to tell them. There's a guy, and he's climbing up a ladder on that roof right there. That I tried to tell him that. Didn't do anything about it. And that was, can you imagine? They're seeing all this. They have all this information.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That technology side to it's amazing because everything's caught on camera.
Well, and
So-
they've got him, and they got him going up like, it looks like
Yeah.
a snake going up the
he was
roof
doing it.
line. But it was so. And then after they shot him, having all those neutralized him, they were allegedly neutralized him. They have all those officers standing around him, and just looking at him like, yeah, he's dead. He's dead.
He's dead.
Yes. Okay, he is neutralized. But I think that it was just.
I'm interested. I
amazing.
would be interested to hear the police scanner thingy, and then I'd be interested to know if they find out how this guy planned it, because there's a lot of happenstance that needs to happen for him to get that far into that.
He had a rangefinder, and the policeman thought that was weird that he had a rangefinder to see
Yeah.
how far and that he was asking people a lot of questions. He was going around asking people a lot of questions. So all these people had eye-to-eye contact with him, and
Well, you had to get the firearm in there somehow.
right.
So that's like another thing. Like how did he figure that out?
Well, he was outside the perimeter of them checking stuff. So, and then what was weird was all the second team snipers, what it was in that building. They were all in the building that he climbed up on and walked on the roof.
Yeah.
So that was just totally strange. And I mean, she has to be fired. Don't you think she needs to be fired?
Well, I think you don't fire somebody without doing an investigation, because there's got to be an investigation why. Because I imagine when you're in that open of an area, as say you're the Secret Service, you're pretty much the best protection detail ever, right? And I imagine they're coordinated on rooftop spotting, because that's like the most iconic. That's where an assassin could be, is on a rooftop, right? So that's one thing I always wondered. It's like, because there is a line of communication when you start seeing somebody on a roof and you're like, hey, is that one of ours? Hey, is that one of ours? But then again, it's like, I'm pretty sure they already planned everything out where everyone was. So that way they don't have to do that line of communication. They can just say like, hey, someone's on this roof that's not supposed to be there. We'll check it out. And it's like,
You're right. And that's what they thought. They thought, well, it could be somebody that's trying to just see Trump and is trying to get a better,
yeah, but
angle
right
on
when you
him.
see a firearm
But
coming
the firearm was the thing that should say.
So it's a little different
Get
from
him.
a guy just getting a camera out or
Yeah.
something, because they're looking and they have like the guns loaded. They're pointing at the possible threat.
Yeah,
And
that's good clue.
well, that's what I'm saying. Like that, I wouldn't fire until they look into that, because to me, it's not unless she directly said no one get on that roof or something. That's kind of crazy. I doubt that she's.
Well, the Secret Service comes and they do the survey in a long, long time before this
well, I know
happens.
that's what I'm saying. Like it's not like they don't prepare, but then again, it's like, why would it take so long for somebody to notice this? Because there are spotters out there constantly looking. That's their sole job, is just to look.
Well, if you watch the audience that they would shoot, they're shooting Trump, but you're seeing all the people behind him. All of them are looking that way. They're all looking at that person and they're pointing and stuff like that. And then he turns and Trump turns and says, if you, and then it goes bop, bop, bop. It was so fast. All that stuff was so fast, but it was miraculous that it was like a quarter of an inch or something like that missed him going into his
it
head.
happened.
But
I'm also, to change subjects, I was surprised that his VP pick wrote that hillbilly eulogy. I think it's elegy or something like that. And Netflix made a movie with Glenn
they made a movie of
with
it.
Glenn Close and Amy Adams. Like that really blew my mind because I was like, who the heck's J.D. Vance? So I looked him up, and that was the first thing. It said like author of a memoir of hillbilly elegy or eulogy. I don't know if I remember what it was.
Yeah.
But then it had a Netflix movie with these big actors in it. And I was like, oh, wow, that's kind of crazy, right? Like,
Yeah, I want to see that. That was
it's on Netflix.
I didn't know it was on Netflix, but my TV went down. There's another thing. You know what a screen reader is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you disarm the screen reader?
You talking about for the hearing impaired?
No, the screen reader is not. The screen reader is for the blind.
Yeah.
Okay, not for the deaf. But how do you disarm that?
There's probably a settings option in whatever program you're using.
It says screen reader, and then you click on it, it goes over to the on or off, and then you click on off.
I guess just depends on what program it is.
And so I do that, and there's still
now it might be enabled on your TV as because a lot of times there's two of them. Because like Netflix will have their own, and then the TV itself will have their own.
Right. Like this is Roku, and Roku has.
So you might need to do it on your TV and Roku.
I did both of them. I found the settings on the TV.
I don't know what to tell you then.
Okay.
You can close captioning?
I use closed captioning all the time, everything.
But you're talking about for the blind.
The screen reader. They're
Okay.
reading the things that the blind couldn't read on there. And so when they click on a channel or they click another channel, she reads what's on that.
Yeah.
And so when
It might be, I don't know, look it up. I don't know, Google it.
Google, that's a good thing.
Don't you have other young people that live with you?
Yes, I had Samantha come in and she came in and unplugged everything, and then she plugged it back in there, and now that
Here we go.
that part of the TV won't work. It doesn't do anything. It says you're not connected, and all that. And I'm going like, I know I'm connected. And she came back in there. I said, we've lost this TV. So okay, we'll have to. I just probably have to unplay your thing. Have Tim come in and reinstall it. But I have to be able to get on Fox News. I mean,
I know you're an addict.
I'm not really until things like this happen, and so
You're a big addict.
No, I'm wanting to hear what they're saying. So whenever I would go to that, she'd start talking, and she'd talk through like the speech or the whatever, and I'm not hearing it, and I'm going like, how do I get rid of her voice? And her voice is really annoying as well. So I just wondered if you'd had any kind of experience with that, because you're.
I mean, I have to look at it. I don't know on top of my head. I could probably figure out in under 2 minutes, but.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
I'm going to call you. I'll FaceTime you.
No, I'm not doing that.
Oh, come on.
You got like any of other people there that take care of you.
They don't understand about screen reading and all that. Yeah. No. Well, so Samantha tried. And
I mean, Google is your friend.
Google is your friend.
Yeah.
I thought YouTube, to find out how to do
YouTube.
something.
I just Google whatever TV model it is, turn off whatever it's called.
Well, it should be that easy. It should be that easy. And you go to the system, and I try to go to the system, and he's going to, Richard now is typing in, and he says,
literally the first one, Roku disable screen reader.
You're kidding.
Right. You can press the asterisk button on the remote 4 times in a row.
That's it?
This shortcut can't be disabled, so it's important to be aware of it when using the remote.
Oh, now how would anybody think of hitting that?
It happens all the time with keyboards. People accidentally do certain things. My favorite is, I think, the keyboard shortcut. There's a combination between like Control, Alt, and like another one. But basically what it is when you hit the delete key or the arrow key, it deletes automatically. It deletes it forward instead of back.
Yes,
and
that's right.
It frustrates people, and it's
that's
great.
Right.
Because I think that's how like old school writers used to write or something, or used to type, because they delete like from left to right instead of right to left, the delete
Oh,
key.
no, but I remember hitting that and going, what happened to it? What
Yeah.
happened to it?
That happens all the time. I forget
But
what
that
it's-
little
I forget.
Roku thing
Yeah,
is
it
about
hit,
this
you
big.
hit the asterisk button 4 times in a row.
4 times, and it would disable it. Oh, yikes.
That took me how long?
That's awesome.
Well, that's if it works.
Well, I'll have to
Yeah.
try that. I love that. And see, that's what I was thinking. I need to call Andrew.
And like that was an
but maybe
ongoing joke.
Andrew would know that.
On I think it's Alt F4. If you hit Alt F4,
Yes.
it restarts your computer. And like we always get people that way. It's like, oh, my computer's not working. Like, oh, just hit Alt F4, and it shuts it down. I think that's what it is.
See,
Let's see.
are you trying all F4?
I'm trying to see what it. I'm not gonna do it while we're doing the show.
Oh, good, because they would take me out. It's okay.
Yeah,
Well,
no, yeah. Alt F4 just closes the window.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it is.
Doesn't turn off the computer.
I'm telling you.
But
But
that's
see,
how
you have
get,
Roku.
you get people when you're playing games online against people. That's how they try to trick you.
That is okay.
Yeah, like oh man, my game's locking up. Like I'm freezing, and you're like, oh yeah, just put Alt F4. It should refresh it, and then it like closes the game. It's pretty
That's
good.
that's mean. Well, it's hard having. You have two systems in there. You have the Roku system
And then you
that
have the
gives you
TV.
local and all that stuff, and then you have the
Oh, I've already gone through this conversation about 20 times with my parents. Because they choose the most complicated ways to do it, and I'm like, you're just gonna have to deal with it. You're gonna have 3 remotes. Well, why do I need 3 remotes? I'm like, well, you chose this. You chose to have cable, and you chose to have this DVD player. You chose to have these things. Like, I'm sorry.
But I mean, really, I wish for the days when you could go back and your antenna was up in the attic, and all you have to do is go up in the attic and move it a little bit. And
Well, my dad didn't like my solution for his issue because he had the issue. He had too many remotes, right? I was like, I would just get 3 TVs. And he's like, what? It's like, instead of getting one giant TV for your room, get 3 little ones, and we can put a sticky note on each one. It says DVD, cable, Roku.
Yeah.
And then you won't get confused. So it's like, if you want to watch DVD, that's the TV you got to watch. He didn't really like that. He's like, that's
see, I'm so glad that you're dealing with. Now, see, he's how old?
old enough.
But I'm older than he is. Well, how old is he?
He's I think he's your age. I think he's 76.
He's 70?
You're 76?
75.
You're 75?
I'll be 76 this year.
Yeah, I think he's 76.
Okay. So that you're
Yeah.
dealing with people going through that. And so you're so much more, understanding of what I'm going through.
Yeah. Well, what's amazing to me is the habits you develop while growing up. Like, I noticed this when I first lived with a significant other. Like, how I watched my entertainment was all through my computer. Like, I never watched television.
You watch it all through your computer.
All through my, like, if I wanted to watch a movie, I sit at my computer desk and I'm watching a movie.
Yeah.
If I, all the stuff is through my computer haven right here, right? And then so when I moved in with somebody for the first time, like, she always wanted to watch TV, and I hated it.
Now why?
And I don't know why. Like, because it's more comfortable. Like, you get to lay out. Mm-hmm. But it's just like, I can't do this. Like, I don't want to do this. Like, I feel like I'm wasting my time even more if I wasn't at my computer, or would be wasting my time. But yeah, I don't know. It's just the way I watch stuff, and I know, and especially like playing video games. I grew up playing video games, and I grew up playing video games on TV. But now I hate playing video games on TV.
Really?
Yeah, like I can't do it. I'm like, it's too big. Like, I need something like a computer monitor to do it. I can't. I'm not interested anymore. I'll lose interest if it's on a big TV. Now, if I go to the movie theater, I'll love watching movies because it's like what you're doing.
Uh-huh.
But if I'm watching like a movie at home, like I don't care.
Have you ever been to a Regal
Yeah.
cinema, like the one in Spring?
Yeah.
Have you been to that one?
Yeah.
It looks looks like you walk into Las Vegas.
All of them are insane.
It's just, they're beautiful. Oh my word.
Yeah.
I love them.
I think my favorite one recently that I went to is that Silverado and Tomball area. Because you can have beer. But it's a normal theater. So, because that's one thing I hate about like the Alamo Draft Houses and stuff is they have those servers, they have those lights. Hate that stuff.
Oh yeah.
But I went to the Silverado. I saw the 4K restoration, not restoration really, but of Episode 1 Phantom Menace of Star Wars.
Oh, okay.
And so they re-released it. So I went to go see it. And I walk in, and then I was like, they had beer. I was like, you guys have beer? And they're like, yeah. Like, and I go, and I was like, okay. So I got a beer and I watched the movie, but it's like a normal movie theater. So I don't have any lights in my eyes. It's just straight movie.
Do you have one of those things that come across you? And
No, it's just a normal movie theater seat.
No cup holder or anything.
Well, I had a cup holder.
Oh, okay.
But it didn't have anything to distract you, like what other people can fiddle with.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you can even lean back. I think it's just like a comfortable chair. Because some of them now have the motorized stuff.
Oh, brother, yeah. Well, I feel like
So-
I'm at home and I could just go right to sleep.
Yeah, but you've been to the movie theater when there's little kids in those. And it's like, I mean, I'm like, dear Lord. But like, I want to go see Deadpool on the 26th.
Oh man. Oh, is
And then,
he not your? He is your personality.
Oh, I mean, I guess. But
Oh, you are. That's you. That's who he reminds me of. I kept watching him and going like, he reminds me of somebody. I know.
you mean
somebody.
that ugly cancer skin guy? That's what I remind you of?
No,
That's
his
the sweet-
personality.
That's the sweetest thing I've ever heard.
No, what's his name? Ryan.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
But no,
He's so cute.
Like I'm gonna go see that movie, and I was like, do I really want to drive all the way up to Tomball to see that movie? Because that's a drive.
Wait, why is it only on Tomball?
Well, I want to go to the theater I enjoy.
Okay.
Because I enjoy the Grand, but they don't serve beer.
Why don't you go to the Regal?
Do they serve beer there? Because I've never been to a theater like that serves. Because I've seen them serve.
The Grand serves.
They don't serve beer though. They serve like margaritas and stuff.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I don't want anything sugary.
Oh, you want
I want like a big old beer.
Yeah, to make you enjoy the movie more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had
So you gonna
a
drive
great time
home?
watching Star Wars. That was so much fun.
I bet it was.
'Cause I've
And
seen
you
that
drove
movie.
home?
I've probably seen that movie. No, I wasn't driving home.
Oh, okay.
But I've seen that movie 100 times. But I was like, this is the greatest experience ever. Because it's just a loud, awesome Star Wars movie while drinking a beer.
That's so good. I'm so glad you had a
Yeah.
good time. Because I know it's been hard sometimes for you to have a good time, and now you're blossoming and you're thriving.
I never have a good
and it's
time
great.
where I'm at.
Don't say that.
I'm just kidding. I always try to make the best of what's around.
What?
I said I always try to make the best of what's around.
Good. That's why you keep me around.
But Deadpool's gonna be fun. Like I'm
No,
really looking forward to
that's-
that movie.
I love him too. I think that they captured him so well. It's a shame he has to look like that,
I think it's part
to
of the
play
story.
the part.
I think it's the part. Like in the comic, he's ugly.
Yeah, but he's so good, and then when he does these commercials, he's so commercialized now that
They're
in
pretty good.
everything, and
Well, one thing I'm looking forward to in this particular movie is I hope they make fun of the Marvel universe. They just keep going into it because in the trailers you see some jokes about how messed up it is, how boring it is, and
Right.
like, so I'm really hoping like they're like, hey, we really screwed up, and it's like just hammer it into it because they really are boring. I don't know if you've been because I'm a big comic book guy, and they just. Like even I think I want to say even at Infinity War Endgame, I remember watching the first Avengers in the theater, and I was like, "This is really kind of boring," because it's like they're not going to lose. Mm-hmm. So that I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's
I think you're too old for it.
no. I mean, there's some spectacle aspect to it that you can make it interesting. but it's also like the risk in the movie. Some like the Spider-Man movies are really well done because there is some risk on a lot of the movies. So it's like, how is this going to end out? Like, even though most people, this is a Disney movie, and everyone's going to die, but it's like,
yeah, right.
there are still some risks because like that's why I like the end of that. So Far From Home, where they exposed him as Spider-Man. That was really cool.
Yes, yeah.
And then they doubled down the next one where he made everyone forget who he was Spider-Man.
You want to go see some?
Because that was the only way to do it.
You want to go
and
see?
I was like, see, that's a real challenge there. They had to make that decision. You can't just pick and choose who remembers them. He had a blanket, clean slate everybody. His girlfriend didn't know. No one knew. He's like, either get all or none. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, see, that's a good thing to have in a movie because you're like, I wonder what he's going to choose.
That's such good relief for the audience. But let me tell you something. Have you heard about Longlegs?
I've heard about the movie, yeah.
Yeah, I went and saw it.
Isn't it supposed to be a scary movie?
Chad said, you want to go see a scary movie?
Okay, was it scary?
It was disturbing. And
Nicolas Cage is in it.
Yes, he is. I don't want to tell you if you.
No, I'm not really a horror film kind of guy. I know my best friend went to a Q&A with the director.
Really?
And, yeah, and he texted me because I always like Nicolas Cage is one of those few actors that I'm like, I kind of want to see whatever he's in, like whatever, like depending. Like I don't really care about the genre, but I know I'm not a big scary movie guy, so it's like let me know if I should see it. And he sent me some stuff, and he sent me some videos he took of the Q&A with the director. The director's really goofy. I enjoyed it. So I might see it.
It's extremely slow. Chad says, I know you may not like it because it's so slow. It's like Stanley Kubrick on steroids, slow. And so he said, so you have to just know that. And I said, well, have you seen it? And he goes, no, but I've heard so much about it, and I've read about it and seen the trailer and stuff. But that's what everybody says on social media. It's slow. But if there was an Academy Award for the cheapest, weirdest, most emotional character in a movie, Nicolas Cage would win. He would win because he did some stuff that you just go like, oh yeah. It's it's one. I love the ones you have to really pay attention to because I like trying to figure out what they're going for and who's gonna end up being what. And that's what I loved about it because you had plenty of that going on. But it was, we sat there, everybody sat there, stayed awake and watched it. And after it was over, we all three, Chad's wife, me, and Christy all looked at Chad and went, what did you just take us to? Oh my. And he said, I love a movie that makes me feel like what that movie was. It made me feel,
In pursuit
disturbed.
of a serial killer, an FBI agent uncovers a serial of occult clues that she must solve to end his terrifying killing spree. That's the movie.
It had a lot of Silence of the Lambs feel to it.
Cool.
Silence of the Lambs is the one that really made you feel. That was really disturbing. I can remember going to see that and going like, yikes.
Well, that movie had a lot of depth to it just because of the relationship between
Anthony Hopkins,
Hannibal, and she wasn't Secret Service. She's FBI or something like that.
FBI.
But
she was.
And then you have Buffalo Bill, which is like another level of awesomeness. So it's like that's. And that's one thing I liked about the ending of that movie was it really wasn't that suspenseful. It wasn't overdone. It was very realistic. It was like, oh, we found where he is. Like, this isn't some drawn out thing. It's like, this to me seemed very believable.
And he walks away
Well, Hannibal does.
Hannibal. That's what I'm saying. It's
not
he
Buffalo
walks
Bill.
away. No, not Buffalo Bill, but he walks away, and of course he had to walk away because you had to have a sequel to that, in some way. And they had two more, or was it 3, or just the 2?
I think there's 5.
Really?
Yeah, because they did. Because we got to be ending the show here pretty soon.
Yeah.
They did Silence of the Lambs, and then they did a movie called like Hannibal, and there was Red Dragon, and then there was Hannibal Rising, and then there was.
That's right.
There's another one that has I don't even think he says anything with Hannibal in it. Let's see.
5. Good grief. That's, you know,
Red Dragon, Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal, Hannibal Rising,
right.
and then Manhunter. I think Manhunter was the very first one.
you know, to me, always the movies that come out.
Good actor in that movie. Yeah, 1986. Yeah, it had Brian Cox as Hannibal Lecter. Joan Allen was one of the police officers, if I believe.
You know, to me, when movies come out like epically and they see all these costumes and all this stuff, you know they're going to have so many sequels because they have to pay for all that. I mean, it's like being able to pay for all the stuff they had, like Star Wars. You had to have a lot of sequels with that. Okay, listen, I want to make sure everybody understands. I have nothing but total praise for any Secret Service, FBI, the policemen there. They were all trying to do their jobs, and something went wrong, and they're going to find out what it is. But the Secret Service people, you being able to cover the president, you would take a bullet for him. That's really heroic, and we love you for it, and we're just glad that he's okay. All right, so anyway, I want to thank Wootton Financial Group for being our sponsor. And Chris, we love you, and we think that you're wonderful, and thank you for taking care of all of us. Appreciate it. I mean, all of us that are in your group. Okay, anyway, thank you, Richard, and hopefully we'll see you next week, okay? Everybody, have a good weekend. Bye.
Every week, people ask the same two questions. Are they ready to retire? Will their savings last for their lifetimes? Hi, this is Chris Wootton with Wootton Financial Group. Our firm has been in Montgomery County for decades, but the hopes and dreams of the people we serve never change. We help answer these two questions and many more that people have about their uncertain financial future. We have a simple introductory client experience that allows us to get to know the client and includes a few meetings for the client to kick the tires at no charge. We provide a concise, one-page summary that helps the client get a better handle on which questions are the right questions for them. To learn more about Wootton Financial Group's process in helping their clients to a clearer financial future and to see their contact information, visit Cindy Cochran's show page on irlonestar.com/TCCS. Wootton Financial Group is a proud sponsor of the Cindy Cochran Show. Wootton Financial Group is available by phone at 936-449-5952 or visit them on the web at www.woottonfinancial.com. That's www.woottonfinancial.com.
This program is sponsored by the Wootton Financial Group. It is not the intent of Wootton Financial Group to render or offer personalized investment advice or financial planning advice through this radio program or any related website. Wootton Financial Group's participation in this program is limited to providing general information on financial matters and should not be construed as financial recommendation or investment advice. Investment advisory services are offered through Game Plan Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission and the state of Texas. Insurance services are offered through Wootton Financial Group, Inc. Game Plan Advisors and Wootton Financial Group, Inc. are affiliated through common ownership, and neither firm is affiliated with The Cindy Cochran Show. No listener should assume that any information presented and or made available on this program serves as the receipt of or a substitute for personalized individual advice from Game Plan Advisors, Wootton Financial Group, or any of their representatives.
What is homelessness? Have you seen parents struggle to find a job without having transportation or childcare? What about the children sleeping in cars with nothing to eat? Families shouldn't have to struggle to survive, and children should not be homeless. Family Promise of Montgomery County serves the needs of homeless families and their children. Learn about ways you can help and learn about partnership opportunities at www.familypromiseofmc.org or call our day center at 936-441-8778.